Marcella Roe. I grew up in St. Peter, Kansas. When I got through 8th grade Catholic school, then the war started, and that's when I left, went to Denver, and from there I went to Seattle, and then I went to Boeing's, built airplanes, Rosie the Riveter.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it because it was something I felt like it needed to be done with the war. The men all had to go to war, so that kind of pushed the women to do something to help along, to get them back home and have freedom, you know. So it was quite an ordeal. Going on 17, young, I travel on my own. That's my history. Rosie the River. I don't even think we thought of it that way. We just had a job to do. We had to go to school to learn all the rivets. When we worked, if they weren't right, the inspector let us know and made an X, and we had to do it all over. And I had the shift working from 11 to 8 in the morning. And then after that, I played baseball. So we had a team, and I was a pitcher. And I kind of enjoyed it, and I still like that type of baseball. The company did give me a picture of my team they released a picture to me. This one's that they released. This one is a bigger one. And this one is where I worked. You can see my name on there. I'm putting rivets in the plate. You can't really see my face here, but I remember him saying, "Put your hand down." And I said, "I can't, I'm working." They were all just really cooperative, and they were nice. And had good boss, good inspectors, no monkey stuff going on, you know. And it was just a pleasure to work in there. I looked forward to go to work every day. Just one time the drill fell on my head, but they took care of that. Not really, but there was blood coming out, and they thought it was terrible what it was. I didn't think nothing of it. Yeah, and then I babysit. I woke up. I was busy all the time, you know. And then I left just before Eisenhower was D-Day, you know. That was in 44.
Mm-hmm.
Just the beginning of, well, around June, I think it was. In May, I left, and in June, the war ended, and then I left Seattle. So I felt like I did my work. That's about it. In Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want to go to Denver and go from there, and then went on. I never thought about going to Wichita. I didn't know they had airplanes down there at that time, you know. How'd I feel? Happy, you know, freedom. We lost a lot of people during World War II. It was a tough time. Yeah, I worked at a veterans hospital. Worked in the kitchen, cooked, whatever had to be done in Waukegan, Illinois. So I traveled the other way. I first went to Topeka. They had a factory there where you grade eggs, the powder for the military, and then from there I went to Illinois. Of course, I had relatives up there, you know, and we all stayed together in one house. That was good times. Was all on my mom's side, my mom's sisters and one brother that was up there at that time. Yeah, we had a good time up there. It was just different when the war was over, you know. You just felt relaxed. You didn't have to worry about this one had to leave to go to the military and so forth, you know. And that little town I come from, they took a lot of the men out of there. A lot of them died, never came back, you know. So it's the end of my story. He was in World War II at the mess hall, punching his ticket. Waukegan. Yeah. I think if it left a mark on me and I stewed over it, no. I felt like we're free. That's it.
Mm.
And you just go on from day to day and you work and try to make a living. Yeah, I got married in 45.
Okay.
He was still in the military. He got discharged. Yeah, he was from Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. He went in business, moving and storage for the government. We've always dealt with government. Well, I really do think you should not stick to one thing. You just take different roads, different jobs. And in the event you get laid off, you got another one that you had experience, and that's how to do it. And then you got to, they train you, but I don't think nowadays they don't train you no more. You need that training before you start working. There's never been a one that fell from heaven yet that could just take over. I couldn't come in here and take pictures like you do, because I wouldn't know how to do it. It has to be taught. And I think a lot of schools teach them things like homework, sewing, and cooking. They took that all away from these kids, you know? Then they wonder why they don't know nothing. They have to be taught. And why can't they go back and teach all that to those kids instead of let them run loose? That's the only thing I could say. It works. If you work and learn, you'll make it. Not be afraid to work. Tackle anything that comes along. And I've done it for 92 years. Well, I had a rough life growing up, you know, but I had a good life. But it was a working life. You work, you go get up and go out, do what you have to do, especially a farm. When you live on a farm, you learn a lot. But not everybody can live on a farm. What do? You do what you can. Well, let me tell you, when you go through a Catholic school, you learn. And when you get through with the 8th grade, you don't have to go to high school. You already know it, because them teachers we had were tough. The parents stuck with the teacher, and then they took care of the child. They didn't accept them to come in and whine and say your child is perfect. No, there's nobody perfect. And I think that's what the trouble is nowadays. They're making monsters out of kids. They baby them too much. Whop them once in a while. Did you get a whop once? We always really talked a lot about him in the family. And my grandpa, they had a nice big picture on the wall of him. And every time I go see my grandparents, he was such a good, handsome looking guy. And my aunt is the same age as I am. And she said, that's one man I want to marry. I said, good luck. But she never made it. But we didn't meet him in person, but we idolized him. He was a great man.
Thank you.
One of the best. Yeah. And what we've seen today, that really opened my eyes. Everything was so beautiful, you know. They got good stuff, pictures. It seems like I remember when he passed away. But then again, I had other things that I was following in life to keep going. So that kind of, you push that kind of aside, because he was out of the military and then he died. And then you just leave well enough alone, you go forward with life. But he's a great man, done a lot. I hope it helps somebody.